whatever morning is lovely. Trust me, your breakfast would have been great. If you're at work, hope that you're getting ready to be very productive and to be very kind to your customers, be pleasant, and at the end of the day, you certainly can take back great memories and above all, see greater production. Well, we have two people here who are engaged in the business of helping us to be more productive, and we want to welcome here them this morning. I normally get tied up with the name K. Julian. It is the National Training what? National Training Agency, NTA, NTRC, NTA, so many, I suppose, similar versions. But good to have you, Paulette and Hamilton.
Thank you very much.
Nice seeing you.
Thank you.
Representing Grenada, part of a regional team?
Yes. We are here from Pierre, Barnett and Associates, which is a consulting firm out of Jamaica.
Okay.
And we are involved in human resource development.
Great.
Dr. Jemmett and myself are here as part of the OECS, Skills for Inclusive Growth, to assist Grenada and the National Training Agency here to build their capacity in terms of assessor training. We are here for the next 2 weeks to train individuals out of the system in Grenada, education system, those persons from employers, and we will be honing their skills so that they can assess individuals to gain the Caribbean Vocational qualification, which will enable the holders to move around the Caribbean.
Right, and there are some prerequisites for being a part of this program.
Absolutely.
You just want to set a definition on what qualifies one to offer himself or herself as a possible assessor, because you certainly would have to meet standards.
Absolutely. You want to take that, Dr. Jemmett?
Yes. To be an assessor, one has to be very au fait with your occupational area. Know how I would term it, the ins and outs of your occupational area. You have to be current and up to date in relation to what is going on in your occupational area. So from a qualification point of view and also from a point of view of experience. Those are what I would consider the prerequisites. But of course, to be an assessor also one has to have a certain personality, because you're going to be interacting regularly with participants and trainees, and you would need to be able to take information, analyze that information that's provided, and come to decisions about whether an individual is competent or not yet competent. And essentially, when someone is found competent, everyone goes away happy. When it's not yet competent, you have to indicate to them that it's not the end of the world, that there are certain areas that they've done well, there are other areas that you need some additional help with, and this is where the assessor has to have the kind of quality and characteristic to be able to say, well, look, these are the areas that you need to improve on, and I can provide you with the necessary guidelines to help.
Right, so the Caribbean has embarked on this program. It's not just OECS, it's across the Caribbean.
Right.
And it's set a level playing field, the skills of carpenter, the skills of mason, the skills of everybody seemingly, so you can journey from one CARICOM territory to another and not be challenged in terms of whether or not you can do it, because you will be certified as a result of this program.
Right.
How has it worked thus far? You see, I suppose your company might be providing services
across the region. Right. The fact is that the individuals who are being trained are trained to international standards. What we want to build is a competitive Grenada, a competitive Caribbean. And this started way back in the 1990s when the ministers of education met in Trinidad, and they looked at what is now known as a TVET strategy. That really set the tone for where we are today. Part of what they recommended was that every single territory should have a national training agency or a TVET focal point. When I say TVET, that's a technical and vocational education and training focal point. And within that system, you'd have assessors, you'd have teacher training, you'd have development of materials, so that persons who are being trained now would be trained to a particular standard. This is assisted through the Caribbean Association of National Training Agencies, so we tend to help each other. in terms of provision of standards, development of materials, and so on. So Grenada now has embarked on the the OECS skills for inclusive growth, which will look at training unemployed youth, institutional strengthening, and of course communicating this information to the wider Grenada. At the end of the day, what we want is a really competitive workforce, building the skills in all the areas, hospitality, agriculture, construction, because technical and vocational education really is the way to go in terms of developing a country. We see TechVoc as embodying not only the knowledge and the skills, but the attitudinal competencies that people should have on the job. So we are preparing persons for the world of work.
Let me add here that the skills area, the occupational areas in terms of standards, use of standards, the standards are not static. And the thing about it is that there's changing technology. There's a constant need to change the standards and develop standards to match new jobs that come because of changes in technology and so on. And that's what makes it very exciting. That the traditional approaches have been academic and have been stuck, to my mind, in a particular mode. Essentially, what you're getting here now, using the occupational standards and developing persons along those lines, is the opportunity to move in the direction of the changes in technology, and you're keeping up with technology. That's why you're going to find that there are standards that speak to almost any occupational area that you can find, even some of those that are not the traditional type occupational areas.
Both of you have a sense of how this thing has unfolded since it started. Have we, as Caribbean people, responded to this seemingly, I would say, still new to us? Have we as a people responded to it very well?
We've had some challenges, to be honest. We've been doing this in Jamaica for the past 20 years. It took a long time for the culture to change. It is changing. We're still not yet there. But people are more readily accepting the fact that to build a nation, you need persons who have skills.
And who are certified.
And who are exactly qualified to work in the area. The beauty about what we're doing, the approach is what is known as the competency-based approach to training. When you look at the whole person, this approach means that you're prepared based on the standards of industry. So once you begin a training program, it means that you are going to be preparing yourself for the world of work. And this is emphasized, at least it's supported and endorsed by CARICOM, it's endorsed by the International Labour Organization, and even UNESCO has this approach on the front burner. It's back on the plate again. But in the past we've had some real challenges because the emphasis has always been on the academic. But I'll give you a scenario. One of my former directors, one day an individual came into his office and said, "Sir, I have 8 CXCs. So he said, "That's wonderful. What can you do?" "So, sir, I have 8 CXCs. What can you do?" And the poor fellow kind of wondered, "I really can't do anything. I have 7 CXCs, but I've got 8 CXCs, so I can't do anything." So my boss said to him, "Okay, join us, learn a skill, and then when you twin both, can you imagine how marketable you will be? Because you have academics and you have the skills." Wonderful experience.
You want to share any experience in Barbados?
Well, basically, Barbados has been at it since 1996, basically, coming out of the same strategy, Caribbean TVET strategy that Mrs. Pierre has spoken about. Essentially, we have been going at it steadily through our Technical Vocational Education and Training Council. I personally am not an employee of that organization directly. I do, through my assignment with the Barbados Community College, I do training for them, and that is one of the reasons why I'm onto this particular program, because I've done quite a bit of training in training assessors, training instructors, and so on. And we have been able to certify some persons. The aim is through a program of intense training to prepare enough persons to go there and to be assessors and to be instructors in the institutions, so that we start rolling out larger numbers of trainees in the particular areas, occupational areas. So yes, we are moving in the right direction as far as I'm concerned.
Good. One of the things that I like about the program actually is that you have acquired skill through sight and maybe your own knowledge, right? But you were not fortunate to have gone through the formal education, secondary school, but you have done it for 30 years.
Wonderful.
And you have mastered it as someone who has a first degree. So this provides you the opportunity to formalize that aspect of it.
Absolutely. I am so happy you brought that up. There are persons who have been working for a long time in their jobs. They're masters at their craft, but they have no formal certification. Now, this program allows you to be certified, and that is why the assessors who have been trained and certified and are qualified to assess, they will work with the individual, and they'll look at what the person has done. There are a number of means, whether it's a portfolio, an assessment, a panel assessment, what have you. And then they match what the individual can do against the international standards. And if they meet the standards, they are certified. They are certified. So it gives that individual the ability now to gain formal certification for the work that they can do. So it means that the person's self-esteem goes up. It means that the person is marketable. They now have the qualifications. They can move around the Caribbean and so on. It's recognized as portable qualifications, and it really does make a difference. We've seen a lot of changes in Jamaica. We've certified quite a number. Over 100,000 persons have been certified, and it has made a big difference even in their own lives and in their businesses.
I can see this.
Even if there are gaps in the persons, using the example that Paula has used, even if there are gaps in a person's skill and knowledge area, that is not the end of the road for them. They will actually, through the assessors and so on, they'll actually be able to be given direction as to how they can fill those gaps, either through attending a formal training program, and not necessarily the entire program, but part of it to take care of that gap. Because when the assessments are done, there is a checklist based on the standards, and what the person is competent in is identified, and those areas that the person may not yet competent in will actually be worked on. They're given advice, they're counseled, and told how they can go about improving those areas, and then when they think they are ready, they will seek the final assessment, which will hopefully give them the okay to be considered competent.
Well, I hope it takes up in Grenada, because there are so many people that I know who, for whatever reason, and in the early years, secondary school was a very privileged thing in Grenada. There were 2 or 3, and population did not in excess of 100,000. Everybody couldn't go. So people have come through a primary system where they are very knowledgeable, have acquired skills, and I'm glad that our local agency is now the beneficiary of your expertise in terms of assessors, and you have been there for today is the second day?
This is the second day.
So you have, I suppose, interacted with our local people. Great enthusiasm, a passion?
Yes, we do.
There must be a passion.
Yes.
There must be a passion.
There must be a passion for it.
Yes. We were here last 2 weeks ago, and we actually did some training for the instructors, and they were so enthusiastic. I think we lit a fire, and we hope that it will spread. The passion will spread.